Good morning, students. In the previous class, as I have started with the discussion of a one mark question from the lesson that is molecular basis of inheritance. In the previous class, I have discussed almost 89 questions. So, in this class, we shall start with the remaining questions. That is question number 90. Why genetic code is said to be unambiguous or specific? The genetic code is considered or it is said to be as unambiguous or specific because always one codon codes for only one amino acid. No codon is going to code for the second amino acid. Amino acid can be coded by more than one codon, that we call it as a degenerate. Okay, so one amino acid will be coded by only one codon. That one codon will be always codes for only one amino acid. For example, UGG, it is going to code for only tryptophan, whereas AUG always it is going to code for methionine. 91 question. What is a point mutation? The change of single base pair in the gene for beta globin chain, which results in the change of amino acid. Means in the beta globin chain, one single base pair is going to get changed. So that single base pair which is present in the beta globin, which is going to change, it is going to result in the change of amino acid. That is called as a point mutation. Next question, that is 92nd question. What is frame shift insertion mutation? The frame shift insertion mutation is a type of mutation which involves the insertion of a nucleotide in which the number of inserted base pair is not divisible by 3. It means when a nucleotide is being inserted, it is being added, the nucleotide sequence is going to get altered. Say now consider there are some 9 nucleotides are present. If there is addition of only one nucleotide, then it becomes 10. So that 10 nucleotides will not be divisible by 3. Okay, so it is called as a frame shift insertion mutation. Then the next question, what is frame shift deletion mutation? It is a type of mutation involves the deletion of nucleotide in which the number of deleted base pair is not divisible by 3. So I have told if 9 nucleotides are there, one is getting deleted, then it becomes 8 nucleotides. So that 8 is not going to be divisible by 3. 94th question. Mention an example for genetic disorder which is a result of a point mutation. So the genetic disorder which is a result of point mutation is sickle cell anemia. As you all know, what is here genetically it is due to the point mutation. Okay, but when a person suffers with sickle cell anemia, the shape of RBC becomes, actually the shape of RBC are biconcave, they are in the spherical, but because of the genetic disorder of the point mutation makes the RBC to change its shape as a sickle. So because of that it is said to be as sickle cell anemia. Next question, define translation. Translation is the process of polymerization of amino acids to form a polypeptide. So here amino acid chains will be formed. So that amino acid chains, each amino acid will be binding, one amino acid will be binding to another amino acid with the help of a peptide bond. So when these chains of amino acids are being formed, it leads to the formation of the polypeptide. Next question, that is 96th question. Name the cellular factory responsible for synthesizing protein. Cellular factory means that factory should be present inside the cell and it should be responsible for synthesizing of the protein, and that is nothing but it is a ribosome. 97th question. What do you mean by charging of a tRNA with respect to translation? As you all know that the translation process involves, actually they are going to involve 4 steps. What is that? The first step is charging of tRNA, or we also call it as amino acylation of tRNA. Once charging of tRNA or amino acylation of tRNA completes, it is going to start with the initiation, elongation and termination. So here they are going to ask only the charging of tRNA. Charging of tRNA. Why this tRNA should get charged? When it is going to get charged? Remember, for the translation process mainly amino acids are required, but those amino acids to be involved in the process of translation, those amino acids will be in the inactive state. To involve in the process of translation, the amino acids has to become activated. Once the amino acid gets activated, so that activated amino acid will bind with tRNA, and that when the activated amino acid binds with the tRNA, we say that the tRNA is charged. So when you are writing in the exam, your answer should be the activation of amino acids in presence of ATP and links to their tRNA is called as charging of tRNA. As this charging of tRNA is also called as amino acylation of tRNA. The next question is, what do you mean by amino acylation of tRNA with respect to translation? So the charging of tRNA and amino acylation of the tRNA are the same. So here I said that amino acids are very much important for the process of translation. So to involve those amino acids, they will be in the inactive condition. So to activate those amino acids, they require ATP molecules, and even they require the enzyme complex. Okay, so with this enzyme and the ATP molecules, the amino acids gets activated, and that activated amino acid is going to bind or link to the tRNA. This we call it as amino acylation of tRNA. Next, 99th question. Mention the enzyme involved in peptide bond formation during protein synthesis. So the enzyme involved in peptide bond formation during protein synthesis is called ribozyme. Next question, that is question number 100. What is the function of ribosome during chain elongation of translation? It means the translation process involves the first step, that is amino acylation of tRNA, and initiation, elongation and termination. So here the question is, what is the function of ribosome during the process of during the step of elongation under the process of translation? So that ribosome helps in the formation of, or it forms the complementary base pair with the tRNA, that is the tRNA anticodon. Next, 101 question. Which type of rRNA acts as ribozyme for the formation of peptide bonds during translation in bacteria? The enzyme which is going to help in the formation of the peptide bonds during translation in the bacteria is a ribosome. But which type of rRNA is going to act? It means type RNA is only rRNA is only going to act as a ribosome. In that, which type means it is a 23 ribosomal RNA is going to act as ribozyme for the formation of peptide bonds. Next question 102. Mention the type of RNA that has anticodon. The anticodon is present in the tRNA, that is a transfer RNA. Next question, expand UTR with reference to mRNA. UTR, it is said to be as untranslated regions. So where we come across with this untranslated regions, students, in your textbook they have not mentioned clearly about the translational unit, but when we were discussing this lesson in the classes, so we have told that is the translational unit is also consisting of the three regions, that is start codon, stop codon and polypeptide region. But before the start codon and after the stop codon, there are some regions present on the strand of RNA which is not involved in the process of translation. So such regions are said to be as untranslated regions. Next question, what is an operon? A polycistronic structural gene which is regulated by promoter and regulator genes are called operon. Next question, what is lac operon? Here, remember, here lac refers to the lactose. The lac operon is required for the transport and the metabolism of lactose in E. coli. Next, 106th question, name the protein produced by LAC-I gene. The protein which is produced by LAC-I gene is repressor protein. So here LAC-I gene means it is the regulator gene, so that is going to produce the protein called as a repressor protein. Next question, what is the function of regulatory gene of lac operon? The regulatory gene of lac operon helps in the production or the formation of repressor protein, or we can also say that it is going to code for the repressors. Next question, why transcription in E. coli does not occur in the absence of lactose in the medium? In the E. coli, the transcription is not going to occur when the lactose is absent in the medium, because when in the surrounding of the E. coli, if there is no presence of the lactose, then the repressor protein is going to bind to the operator region. When the repressor is going to bind to the operator region, that is going to prevent the RNA polymerase which is to be involved in the transcription of the operon model. Next question, how does repressor protein prevent the transcription of a structural gene. So in case of the lac operon, you have come across with the regulator gene, operator gene, then the structural genes. So here this regulator gene, when it is going to produce the repressor protein, if in the surrounding of the E. coli, if the lactose is present, so that lactose is going to bind with the repressor and makes the repressor to be as inactive. If there is no lactose present, means that repressor is going to bind to the operator region. Okay, so when the operator region is filled with the repressor protein, that is not going to signal the structural gene to become switched on. So here, why the repressor protein is preventing the transcription? How they are asking how it is preventing the transcription of a structural gene. How it is going to prevent? By blocking. Who is going to block? The repressor protein is going to block the operator region. When the repressor protein blocks the operator region, there will not be the space for the binding of RNA polymerase enzyme. So because of that, no transcription is going to takes place. Next question: what is the function of repressor in an operon? The function of repressor in an operon is to prevent the RNA polymerase from the process of transcription. How the RNA polymerase is going to prevent the transcription? Because here in case of the repressor, it is going to bind the operator site. So when the repressor is going to bind at the operator region, there to the operator region, RNA polymerase cannot come and bind and begin the process of transcription. Next question 111. Name the enzyme encoded by the LAC-Z gene. The LAC-Z gene is going to code the enzyme that is beta galactosidase. The remaining questions I am going to continue in the next class. Thank you, students.